Realty family and real estate industry friends, happy Friday. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. If you're live with us in the Metaverse Auditorium, we're so glad you're here. Please use the chat box today and let us know what you're thinking. If you are with us on the YouTube channel, thanks for being with us on the live stream. Please make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications. EXP goes live throughout the week with so much great information, great training, great place to be. Honored to be with you all. If you're a regular on the show, you know what we're about to do. We're going to give you just a moment to get your mindset going in the right direction. If you're here for the first time or you're joining us a little bit early for the Friday Big Agent meeting, which starts at the top of the hour, you're in the right place. Just roll with us. We'll introduce you to what we're up to in just a moment. So I want you to take just a second to clear your thoughts. If you're really aware of everything going on outside of you right now, then I want you to reflect inward for a moment and get aware of what's going on inside. Find your heartbeat. Find your breath. If you're really inside yourself right now and you're really in some thought or reflection, I want you to find something externally instead and focus. Take a look at that thing over there. Find something blue or yellow in your room. Now that you've kind of got your awareness shifted from where it was to a different place, I want you to complete this following prompt. Recently, I have really been noticing blank. Recently, I have really been noticing blank. Bring some awareness to your thoughts. What have you been noticing lately? If you're bold enough, brave enough, and willing to share it in the chat box or in the comment thread, would love to see what you've been noticing. And the reason for that prompt is because we have an amazing special guest today. And one of the first things I know we're going to get into is just talking about being an observer and paying attention and all that good stuff. This gentleman is the Chief Growth Officer of one of the top teams at EXP. He's an experienced entrepreneur, an amazing executive, and just one of those people that when he shows up brings light, love, energy, and words of wisdom. Let's welcome my man, Kurt Shewell. Kurt, what's going on?
Kirtus Dixon, my man. How are you, buddy?
Oh, I'm amazing. I'm honored to be with you. I appreciate you making some time for us and our family today.
Yeah, I don't know of a better group to pour into or to do anything you can to help than this group. It's been amazing what this group's done to my life, right? For me not to do everything I can to help anybody else would be almost like a crime. I mean that sincerely.
Well, you are that guy that just shows up for people all day, every day, everywhere you go. You bring a special energy, and that's what I want to do today, man. I know I'm jumping right into the middle of your workday. You're sitting in the office, you're missing calls, and you're rescheduling things just to be here with our audience today. So, Kurt, take me into where you are today. Like, what's going on around you? How are you spending your time, and what's driving you to just, as you said, pour in to everyone everywhere that you can?
It's kind of neat. It's the cliches, and your life is going to take you down a lot of paths. And every one of those is, it's all part of your journey. Everybody's got a story, and my story, a lot of people know my story, but it's taken me through different directions where you have to be open to so many things. And I used to be that guy, I'll never do this, and you'll never catch me doing that. You'll never catch it. I will never. And I started realizing what closed mindset I had. And people, oh, you're such a big thinker. And I was like, man, I'm thinking so small, because you've got to keep getting in the room with the people who do think big. And when I get to hang out with a guy like you, and think about this, Kirtus, I think the world of you. I think you're an amazing person. What you do is so unbelievable because you're an unsung hero, right? You're behind the scenes all the time. And what you do is amazing stuff. And only certain people are paying attention. And when I say never this, never that, I started to learn to pay attention. And you start watching the people around you. You start seeing what's happening. Who's making the things really happen? Not who's up front, but who's back there working, grinding, making it happen. And when you start seeing these people and you give that respect to those people, you'll see how quickly you lift the entire ship. High tide rises all ships. The problem is you only see the big ship. You don't see all the other ships. Well, the fleet is what really makes it happen. And when you start really focusing on that and paying attention, you start becoming that. You become a better leader. You become a person that people want to follow because you're not leaving them out. You're not looking at what you get from it, but you're looking at what they get. And the truth is, the biggest thing I learned in all this time and what's changed my life is when I started really fixating on helping everybody get what they wanted, I got everything I ever wanted and then some. And that's what really changes everything. And imagine the perfect world. I don't want to get all philosophical, but What's the perfect world, Curtis? You don't get compensated in anything. You get nothing until you help somebody else get what they want. Not just because you tried to help or you said it, but until they actually have success. If they actually get something, then you're rewarded for it. What if we lived in a world that was like that, right? What's your version of heaven? Me? It's that. Well, you know what's really cool? I found an environment that I thrive in because it's designed that exact way. Glenn Sanford came up with a concept of, I'm going to compensate agents and make them a partner in the business and treat them that way, like true partners, but I have to give them compensation to do so. But I'm going to tie it to them compensating and helping someone else. You help someone else, now you get. Amazing thing, it changed everything. And if you can get that mindset right and you start thinking that way and you literally live that way, everything changes, because the way you do anything is the way you do everything. I used to do things a lot different. I wasn't always the greatest guy. I always thought I was a good person, but I wasn't the greatest guy. Today, I show up as the greatest guy because I need to be that for everybody else because they're doing that for me. I hope that makes sense.
Oh my gosh, man. What I want to do is just like run back those 3 minutes so everyone can hear it again and again. Kurt, yes, it makes sense. It makes a ton of sense. And I appreciate you sharing so transparently and so clearly and concisely, because that is, again, a skill I think that you bring everywhere you go. As you show up and you make an impact with your words, and then your energy and your heart and all of that follows. And so the way you do anything is the way you do everything. What a saying, I think, to get people going this morning. That means a lot of different things, I think, when I start thinking about my life and the people in it and all of that stuff. And you also talked about, I'm going to tie these two together. You also talked about things changing, your mindset changing, some of your values changing when you started paying more attention. I think that way you do everything, right? When you're paying more attention, it absolutely impacts the way you do everything, because you just have a different view of what's going on. Like, we all have our own personal reality, right? We all see the world a certain way and we think things through our filters, and our values and beliefs create our thoughts. When you start to change and pay more attention, you become a bit of an observer instead of just the subject of your life and the subject of everything. And I've found, I don't know if this is true for you too, like through that observation, because I'm an avid observer as well of the rest of the world and the people around me. And I'm always looking for ways to learn more, impact more, change my belief, think differently. I'm looking for those ways as an observer. And I found that through that observation, what it does is start to minimize a bit of like the highs and the lows for me emotionally, right? Those deep, dark places where you go that you don't stay there as long, right? Those wild waves you ride, like through that observation, you realize like, this is just life one day at a time. Things happen, things come and go. Have you found any of that to be true as you've gotten more into your observation? It just sounds like that perspective shifted a lot of your beliefs and mindset.
Yeah, no, 100%. It really does. And what happens is you by doing this, what happens is right. If I become a student to what does Kirtus Dixon do, and how does he do it, and why does he do it the way he does it? If you ask those questions, like think about it, who's the best salesperson on the planet? It's a 4-year-old. Why? 4-year-old says, why? And they don't stop, right? They're tenacious, right? They do not accept no for an answer. Can I have this candy bar? No. Why not? Because I said no. Why? Well, because I said so. Not a good enough answer. Why? Why did you say so? Because you won't eat your dinner. And they're going to keep pounding until you give it.
They don't stop.
Yeah, they're going to overcome that one all day. I'll eat my dinner. No, you won't. Yes, I will. Well, oh my God, fine. You can have the candy bar. And then what do? Okay, I don't know I'm going to pick this one for now, but I'm going to pick this one for later. Okay. Can I have 2? Like, are you kidding me? No. Right. Why? And you're like, here we go again. You're like, fine, get one for now, one for later. Don't you ask me for another thing. And they're like, got it, winner, right? And they get what they want, right? Because they're tenacious about it. But when you really start thinking, okay, how do they do what they do and why do they do it? Why? Ask those questions, right? What does Kirtus Dixon do? Why does he do it? And why does he do it the way he does it, right? And why do people resonate to this guy? So I look and I pay attention to people that are magnetic to other people that put off that vibe. You know what I'm talking about. You get into a room, you see a room. There's the loud guy with the lampshade on his head. Okay, he's the funny guy. Probably not the guy that I'm going to be best friends with. He might be the guy I want to go party with, right? When I let my hair down, but he's probably not the guy I'm going to learn how to run my business from because he's a little bit too silly. He's a little still doing the immature thing. Not that that's not a fun thing. It's just there's a time and a place, and that's not the time or the place. But he wants to be the funny guy. He'd rather be right than happy. And there's a ton of people like that. You want to be right. I'm right. Well, you're never going to be happy because you're so hell bent on being right. What if you were right, but what if I was right too? Imagine that. What if we were both right, but we did it two different ways, right? There's more than one way to skin a cat, and I don't even know where that saying comes from because it sounds absurd and horrible. But at the same time, there's more than one way to do something, guys. We don't have to do it the exact same way, but the path is the same. And I think we get confused. If we're going down the same path, well, if you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, let's go together. We'll win this thing. And most people don't want to do that because I want it on mine. I want it my way. I want to be right. Stop being right. And the day I learned stop being right, just be happy. Well, what's happy? Are they getting what they want? Are they happy? Yeah, great. Even if I let them feel they're more right, even though I still think I'm more right, I don't have to tell them. You don't have to beat this through their heads. You just have to help them see it another way. You have to help them see the bigger vision. And if you can see with bigger vision, which is when we do never, 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 we can't see. But when we say, okay, I'm open to this. When we open ourselves to everything, everything changes. The vision changes. Think about it 360. Can you see all the way around, or do you only see this? Horses race in races, and they put blinders on them on purpose so they can't see what's next to them. Because they need them hyper-focused on that finish line, see what's in front of them, and make sure they're in front of it. They don't want to be behind, right? So that's the idea behind horse racing. They blind them so they only see in front of them. Well, there are parts of your life you need to have the blinders on and stay focused on your path. Then there's other times it's okay. Now, take a look. Take the blinders off. Who's around you? Success, when you're at the top, it's a small group because more people would rather be the bucket of crabs pulling you back down in the bucket. So you don't have to put a top on a bucket of crabs. They'll never get out. As soon as one gets close, the other grabs and pulls them right back down. People will do that to you. They will pull you back down because it makes them feel more significant. If you help them feel that they're right, they'll be happy. Get them happy. You'll be happy, and we'll go a lot further together. I know it's a little deep, but that's
the blueprint, man. No, I mean I know it's a little deep, right? That's your awareness, that's your acknowledgement, like that's your understanding. But I'm going to challenge everybody here this morning, listening to this right now, whatever you're doing, take a pause and give yourself permission to go a little deep because, Kurt, one of the reasons, we invite you and the amazing guests on that we have on the show is because I think there's so many people out there and great content and amazing trainers and educators and all kinds of people telling people what to do.
Yes.
But I think the greatest change that we can help make is changing how people think. And so the moment right now that people have is to think a little deeper about the stuff that you're talking about, right? If you stopped and reflected right now, like if you don't think the way Kurt thinks, that's okay. That's what we're talking about here today. But he is challenging you to stop being hyper-focused on being right. That's a huge mindset shift, Kurt, that it sounds like, obviously, I know you've made throughout your life and probably continue to work on because it's something that can creep back up on you, right? We all bump into our ego from time to time and we bump into new experiences and it brings up old beliefs and paradigms and feelings and you get right back into sometimes these habit loops. But I remember hearing that recommendation for the first time, maybe a handful of years ago, right? Like just stop being obsessed with being right and realize others can be right too. Others are right. You can both be right. And even if you're wrong, what an amazing gift. Because when you're wrong, if you're open-minded, it gives you a chance to learn something totally new. And that new might be the foundation for a totally different life and everything beautiful. So I love that one. And I think that's potentially an epiphany for like anyone listening this morning. And then the other one too, people don't always tell us that we might be in a bucket of crabs, as you described. People don't always point it out because when you're in a circle of friends or peers, work group, whatever it is, they may not be aware that they're in a bucket of crabs, but somewhere in your life, there is a group of crabs and they will pull you back down. And that's just such an important commentary this morning on all of our lives. Like you went into my soul when you described my 7-year-old daughter relentlessly asking for the chocolate bars, right? Like that's just how she lives her life. She doesn't not get what she wants. She knows what she wants and she gets it. She lives moment to moment, makes mistakes every day and she grows. But I'm not pulling her back down, right? I'm not saying that's bad, that's wrong. I'm teaching her, hey, we made a mistake last night with this, that, and we go. And there are those people in your life who are doing that, right? That are pulling you up, pulling you out of that bucket. And sometimes we fail to reflect on who is what and where we are. Those are just two big ones this morning, man, that you're giving out. I had to stop it.
It's about being intentional, right? We do think I get probably accused of it more than anybody. Kurt, you just go and you just fly by the seat of your pants and you wing it. I'm really not. I'm very well scripted. I know what I'm looking for. I know what I'm trying to do. I may not be the best at doing it, but I'm going to get there because I have a plan. I really do. And I think it through. And what used to be, right, a long time ago, when I was very close-minded, I have to convince people, convince. And I hated the word convince. I used to love it. Now I hate it because if I have to convince you of something, Kirtus, then I'm probably selling you, not helping you, right? So convincing you. Why do I got to convince you? What if I could show you? What if I could show you, and if it makes sense to you, maybe this is something we can do together, and maybe it makes more sense, and maybe we would go a lot further. Because if I provide value to you for real, and I can bring something, and I'm intentional about what I'm doing, then I can really help you go someplace else, which would benefit me too. Because now we're both going there together, means we're going to go farther, right? I can't go anywhere beyond where I can go on my own until I have other people who've gone further to teach me what to do too. Or I'm going to be trying to reinvent wheels. I don't ever have success doing that. I have great success learning what somebody else did and then finding my path in it, where I stay down that direction. But if nobody's opening a door for me, I can't go in the doors. I mean, beating down doors, like, man, you're going to hurt your hand doing that. It's going to get tiresome. You can't do it. And you're not going to have success the way you want. You'd be much more enriched, right? You want to get rich. You don't want to get rich. You want to get enriched. And I know that's a little deep again, but
man,
in life, you're getting so much more value out of it. What's the value you bring to the table? What do you bring to the party, right? Do you the guy that comes up to the party and doesn't bring anything because they're having a party? So, oh, we got everything. You don't need anything. Just come on. Are you that guy that shows up without anything? Or are you the guy that actually brings something to the party, right? Think about that. Who are you? And ask yourself. This isn't a slam on those who don't. I've been that guy too. Man, this is great. I get to go to the free party. And I was thinking of a free party. Well, hold on. What value am I bringing to that party? Why am I even invited to that party? Should I be the guy that I want to be the guy that next time they make their party list, I'm the first name that comes to mind, right? I want them to think, man, that's the first guy I want there. If you're not doing that, then you're missing something, not them. It's you. What are you contributing? Because I want to be the guy that they want back more than anyone else. So I want to bring the most value. And that's really the way, if you think that way, everything changes, man. People want you in their world. They want your lives. And that's how you get in the next room. People ask me all the time, how the hell do you have 3 billionaires on your speed dial? And I was like, I never thought a billionaire on my speed dial. I really do. And it's neat. And I talk to these people and I communicate and they communicate back. It's amazing to me because they're just normal people, but I provided enough value in conversation that they're providing massive value to me because I knew what I wanted out of it, but I didn't go in with the approach of, hey, Kirtus, what can you give me? What can you do for me? Here's what I want from you. If you approach people that way, people are going to be, whoop, yeah, thanks, go away. You're trying to convince me of something. I don't want to convince anybody of anything. I want to show them value so they see value in me, and then they'll drop all kinds of value on me that is beneficial, and that's really what I'm looking for. Can I get myself in the room with the people who think bigger than me, who are doing it better than me, who are doing it faster than me, and who are certainly having more success than me? So if I hang out with my 10 broke friends, guess what? I'm going to be 11th broke friend. And it's not about money. Broke doesn't mean just money. These are negative people with negative thoughts and negative mindsets. Everything's wrong. We got to pull them down. They can't have success. Who do they think they are? Those are the people I'm talking about. And I don't mean for 1 second stop and forget who you are or where you came from. Don't forget who your friends are, because I have tons of friends in that group.
Absolutely.
I limit the time I spend in that group, because I can only handle so much of the negative. Where I got to get back where that positive, where the light is. It shines, and it shines bright. I want to wear shades because your future's bright. Right? We've heard that silly thing, but it's so true. You hang out in the cloudy people that are doom and gloom, and everyone's a problem. It's always their fault. Everybody did this to me. You can't control what happens around you. What you can control is how you react to it. And if you want to, it's the old expression, you fall in a bucket of crap, right? Well, if I step in crap, first thing I do is get it off my shoe or throw the shoe out. I need to get that off me as quick as possible. People are, well, you step in a pile of crap and you come out smelling like a rose. That's because I don't want to wallow in crap. I'm not okay there. That is never okay. It's never okay. Get out of that as quick as possible and get into the room with the people who are shiny and bright, who are happy, who are positive, because they're going to change the way you think, because they change how you feel. People will not remember everything we talked about today, Kirtus. They'll remember how we made them feel. You got to know.
Right. Man, you are giving so much good stuff. Again, I just want to encourage everybody here. If you're watching live in our Metaverse Auditorium, thanks for being with us. You can go back and rewatch this on the YouTube channel, because what you're doing, Kurt, I mean, you're giving a lesson again in how to show others a way of thinking. And so you're using these sayings and these phrases, right? And then you're breaking them down and you're explaining what they mean to you. And just that ability to communicate how you feel and what you think and what you like and don't like, right? For someone to tell you this morning that you should get out of that crap, stop wallowing, stop staying stuck, take your shoe off, throw it away, get out, get out. Kurt is telling you to get out, get out. Don't spend any more time there. Like that's a huge message, right? And it comes from your beliefs and the way you express that, through sayings and things that you use regularly or phrases, because I know you spend a lot of your time impacting and helping others, but all that stuff is real, right? Like your intention to be surrounded by people that are going to force you to elevate your thinking, your approach, your intention to bring value to every interaction. Like those are the things that you said you're intentional about, and others might perceive that, as you said, you don't have a plan, seat of your pants, all that stuff. Who cares? Like, where you're at, who you are, and where you're going, and therefore you'll get there. But when you don't, you typically won't, right? You're just going to end up somewhere unexpected. You're not going to be where you meant to be. And then what you're doing too, you're kind of answering these questions that are coming up, at least for me. So I would imagine is for the audience. What I was going to ask you is, when you're living intentionally and you're going to give the value and you're choosing the rooms you want to be in and you're choosing positivity and you're releasing negativity and you're doing all these great things, how do you prioritize or deprioritize the distractions and the other things that come your way that you don't know if they're positive or negative, good or bad, right? You haven't put a judgment on them, but they just show up? Because I think that's a struggle for people who are early in a self-development journey or early in an entrepreneurial journey, is like they might be going and then something just bam knocks them off track. And the longer they stay off track, the more they deviate from where they were trying to go. How do you keep your focus? How do you think about prioritization and choosing or not choosing distractions?
Yeah, right. I've chose unwisely plenty of times. So
haven't we all?
Right. What I've learned though, by choosing unwisely a lot, was I didn't ask enough questions up front. Right. When we agree to do something, Kirtus, we need to form which is referred to as an upfront contract, meaning we agree that this is what we're doing this for. Right. We never lose sight of the for. Right. I talk to agents all the time, and I coach and train them to sell more real estate and to help people for real. Right. First thing I teach them to stop selling and start helping, so they get it right. So people want to be helped, right? Everyone wants to buy, no one wants to be sold. So we've got to really help them, right? So when I'm deciding who am I going to be in the room with, who am I going to partner, who am I going to do things with, like you said, who am I choosing? How do you choose the right one? Well, what I find is that I don't want to run with people who don't take responsibility. I want to run with the ones who do, because they bring so much more value to the table, and I can count on them because they're taking responsibility. The ones who want everything for nothing, I'm not going to do anything until you do something for me, I quickly learned, as much as some of those are really shiny objects, and hey, they got like this cool boat, and boy, that'd be cool to ride on that boat. Well, okay, let's pretend you got the boat ride once. But wouldn't it be cooler if you could ride with the people who are going to help you get your boat? Right? That'd be neat. Well, okay, I can't have the boat ride today, but I can own the boat and ride forever tomorrow. Well, okay, so who are these people to do that? So you have to learn to ask more questions. So what I say is, tell people nothing, ask them everything. So I'm going to tell them plenty in my questions, right? I'm going to talk in story. That way people can relate, people can identify who I am. They're going to quickly know exactly who I am and where I'm coming from. I'm not trying to hide it. It used to be that guy where you're like, okay, little bait switch, right? Tell them this. And then we're going to take them around the corner here, and boy, boom, now we're going to get them, right? They don't know it. They don't see it coming. We think people are stupid. People are not. People are very smart. People are perceptive. If they know you and you start talking to them in a way you've never sounded before, they're like, who the heck am I talking to? How many of your friends have called you because they wanted to pitch you like Amway, right?
Of course.
You get that phone call.
Right.
Kirtus, it's your friend Kurt. We've known each other for 20 years. I have a business opportunity I really wanted to take advantage of with you, and I thought you might be interested if I could bring a good opportunity to you. Are you open-minded? You'd be like, hey, Kurt, I got to go. Click. Like, what is that? That is not the Kurt I know, because I'm not even talking genuine, right? So they can sniff it out a mile away. And they're like, oh my God, they said just to say that it would just work magic. No, it doesn't. Because people read through this stuff. They don't want to be sold, right? They want to buy. They don't want to be sold. Talk to me. Talk to me right. So I'm going to, instead of tell you this, I'm going to ask you, Kirtus, my brother, what's going on with you? What matters to you? Let's talk about you. And then I'm going to go down the path of, hey, I ran into a couple different business things and I'm interested. Let me bounce one off and see what you think. What do you think of this? I was told this. What I saw was this. And then when I found doing it was that. Seems to be working out. I became a little more open-minded to it. What does this sound like to you? How about ask it that way? Maybe ask them a real question. I told them, right? But I asked them. I told them nothing. I asked them everything. When I told them plenty in it. So if I'm talking to an agent, hey, how's your brokerage, Kirtus? And, how's it going? And you're at, whatever brokerage you're at, you got the great logo and, it's on the back of all the buses that drive around, pitching your company. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, it's a recognizable logo. How's it been working out for you? Oh, it's great. I love it. Yeah. How you been doing in your biz? What are you doing? How are they helping you build your biz to get out of the biz? That's really what I'm looking to do. What I found is, hey, I found this cloud thing. It's working pretty good. And heck, it actually gives me an exit strategy I've never seen before. What's the one that they're giving you? I just told them something and hoping maybe strike some interest, but I asked the question. So what are the ones that you're doing? What are they doing for you? How does that work for you guys? They don't have it. I already know they don't have it, right? Very intentional. But I'm asking the setup question, told them what I wanted to tell them in the form of the question. Story, here's what I did, here's what I found. This has been kind of working out. I don't know, it's really crazy. Kind of neat. What are you guys doing over there? I mean, I'm sure you guys are like, you're an amazing company. What are you guys doing? What are they doing to help you do that? We don't have that. Oh, no way. Is that something that's important to you? What if you could have it? Is that something you're open to? I mean, is that something you're looking for? Or is there a plan for that in the future? I already know it's not, right? So I'm asking, I'm telling him, but I'm asking. I'm telling him, I'm asking. I'm never telling him anything. I am in the form of the question. If you can start having these conversations, you're leading them the path that they're going to decide to go or not go. And if they want to, I'm not interested. No. Hey, I'm not trying to push you into anything. I was just asking. All right, let's talk about fishing. Let's talk about hunting. Let's talk about something else. Talk about baseball. It's great. But they got to have that conversation when you're ready. But you can keep testing the waters by asking the right questions. And when you start doing that, you find how interested people really are.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this, first of all, for everybody out there who's listening, who's interested, Kurt is easy to find. He gives back in so many ways and places. He's got calls and things that he's setting up all the time. He's speaking on stages all across the country. So, Google Kurt, find him, get connected to him in workplace, because exactly what we're doing here and practicing and talking about is how Kurt operates out in the real world and in the real estate world. He asks questions. He tries to find people he can help. So if you need help or you want to get more of these scripts and all that kind of stuff that Kurt's spitting out, go get connected. And Kurt, I want to thank you, because all we did today, and this is a simple reminder to kind of put a bow on everything, our mindset and our approach this morning for Kurt and I's conversation has just been, hey man, are you open to chat? Let's ask some questions and talk about some things. And that's all we've done is ask more questions, talked a little less, listened to each other, gone back and forth. And I hope for you all, we've created a powerful energy and a feeling of excitement and belief and passion and motivation and love and kindness and confidence and all the things that you need to go out and have a wonderful weekend and build your business and help some people and make a big impact. And Kurt, that's the mission here on the Connected Podcast. We think everybody's one connection away from a totally different life. And I think this morning, the questions, the thoughts, the ideas, and you yourself have been that powerful connection. So I want to thank you for being open-minded. I want to thank you for having the beliefs and the approach that you have, and just be willing to have a conversation openly in front of people, anytime, anywhere. That's what we did today, man. It's been a blast. I've enjoyed it.
Love talking to Kirtus. Just remember, ask more questions, guys. Just keep asking people things, and they'll tell you what they want. It's that simple. It's not difficult. It's hard because you have to stay focused, but it's so simple. Just
stay focused. Get out there and do it, everybody. Happy Friday. The big agent meeting starts in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. Kurt, thanks again. We'll see you soon. We'll see you next week on Connected.
Brother, thanks so much. I appreciate you having me on. Thanks, man. Good talking.
Thank you.
All right, happy Friday, June 23rd, big agent meeting. My name is Russ Laggan. I am your host today. And today we have a show lined up with you, two cool people you're going to dig. Number one, right out of the gate, we've got John Tsai. I've been looking forward to getting in touch with this guy live to get him on the show here. We have president of EXP Canada. Also, heck, he's one of the bigger teams in Canada doing that too, still while doing the president job. And then we're going to follow that up by a return visit of Carrie Shull. I don't know if you guys caught Carrie a couple of weeks ago. We got a small little nugget of time. I'm going to give her a hard time and have some fun with her. She's got some really great stuff in her repertoire, and I want to make sure you guys see what she's going to be talking about today. It's going to be a great show today. So without delay, I'd love to introduce to you the president of Canada, the one, the only, John Tsai. Come on down, brother. How are you today?
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me, Russ. And really looking forward to this interview. And we've been trying to set it up for weeks now. I'm here, so thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, thank you for being here. I do appreciate it. I know you're a busy dude. We had a couple of really short conversations, and I think it'd be good for people to know, like, who are you? Where'd you come from? I was just telling you run a real estate team, right? And now president. So tell us about your team, and then tell us about how you got the president role.
Yeah, so I've been selling real estate now for 17 years and been at EXP since January 1st, 2019. I came in here with 3 agents and doing it about 110 transactions at that time, about 100 million. And since then, you've been able to scale. I was a high producing, small team. Basically, I was in production myself for all that production. And now I'm completely out of production with the mentorship and coaching from what I've gotten from all my sponsors. Now we're doing about 200 transactions, about 200 million in volume as well, 25 agents. And yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. Our revenue share group, is just over 1,000 at the moment as well. In March 7th, actually, I remember the day, Glenn calls me. And,
you pick up, of course, it's Glenn.
I pick up, Glenn, right? And so what he said was, hey, John, you know how he sounds, right? And I'm like, yeah. What's going on?
Oh,
and, of course, when the CEO of the company calls you, you either are getting fired or you're getting promoted. So either way, I was excited or very scared. He said, I said, how are you doing, Glenn? And you know how he is. He says, good. Long pause. And I'm like, so he's like, yeah, so John, we have this leadership role coming up. I'm like, okay, great. Well, what's going on? He said, essentially, we're looking for the president of EXP Realty Canada. I'm like, oh, okay, awesome.
Let me help you find someone.
yeah, exactly. I was like, let me help you find somebody. He's like, well, no, somebody, Rachel Vanderveen put your name forward, and we'd like to essentially interview you if you're open to it. And I said, you know what? EXP's given me everything that I have, going from 12 to 14-hour days, 7 days a week to 4-hour days, 4 days a week because of what EXP has to offer me. Now I'm just going to give it back. So I said, yes, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing, but Glenn, put me in, coach. So that's where I'm at.
That is a great story. And, it is kind of funny because I don't have a guilty conscience necessarily because I pretty much do. I'm 100% all me all the time. But there are times when that gets checked up a little bit. And when I get the call, I get like, oh, you get that, oh no, what did I do now?
Yeah.
I just want to tell you how great of a job you did. I'm like, oh, thank God it was that. Like, what did I do?
Yeah.
I love that you get that too. It's like we don't really do anything wrong, but I still feel guilty sometimes. So you $200 million team, which is phenomenal. You accept the president of Canada role. And by the way, I understand you have 2 young children also.
That's right. My younger one just turned 2 and my older one's turning 4 July 7th.
Nice.
So super excited. They're growing up way too fast. But, so when I try to, be with family, I'm with family. And Glenn told me that you're going to be traveling a lot, but just make sure that you plan your family first and then plan your work around your family.
That is brilliant. That's not only is that brilliant advice, but I like that advice. And also, isn't that cool that you got the CEO of the company that's saying, make sure you take care of your family first?
Oh, it's great. I mean, Glenn's been through it. He's got 2 girls as well. Now that they're 27 and 29, that he's getting more time with them now than ever before. But when he was coming up during the grind, he never saw them. But he also told me that if you never show your kids the hard work,
Yes,
when they grow up, they will not have the work ethic that you have.
yes,
Right. And if you're just retired and with them all the time, when they grow up, they don't know how to make money. They don't know how to get hit. They don't know how to have setbacks and keep going. So I think it's a great opportunity for me to show my kids that daddy's been through the grind, still in the grind, know how to work.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, now I believe your wife is also working with you and your team.
That is correct. She's basically the mastermind behind the whole team. And I got great support around me. Glenn told me when I jumped into this role, he said, you better hire a sales manager and you better have some more leadership. And lo and behold, somebody just showed up. And it's funny how when you commit to one thing, things start happening around that one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is, that's law of attraction. A lot of people call it a bunch of different stuff, but law of attraction, we'll call it, keep it simple, right? And it's once you finally commit to something and you're all in and you get your energy moving in that direction and your wife's energy is moving in that direction, the family's energy is moving in that direction, you get all of everybody in alignment, weird things happen that are amazing. Absolutely amazing.
We say it's weird. And in fact, it's actually, that's the way it should be.
Exactly.
Right. So we should expect greatness. We should expect things happen the way we want it to. Right. But you have to commit.
Yes.
If you don't have a focus on that vision of what you want, you just go all over the place. It's kind of driving your car without, and burning gas without putting in the GPS, the destination. Yeah. And then you're just kind of drifting.
I think some people are doing it more like pedal to the metal and they take the steering wheel off and throw it out the window.
Right.
Like, where are you going? They're like, I don't know, but I'm going fast.
Yeah.
Brilliant. All right. So quick update on EXP Canada. EXP Canada just bumped over what I believe 6,000 agents.
Just bumped over 6,000 agents at the end of May. I think we're just a little bit above that right now. And we're putting in the work, Russ. I'm doing 5 events every single month, and I'm flying out to Toronto, Winnipeg. We just came back from Ottawa, and going up to Yukon the next month. We're just putting in the work, showing that we're willing to work, showing that we have the energy and enthusiasm to grow this country. And the rest will follow. As long as we do that and we work on onboarding, managing, broker support, everything else just comes together. Yeah,
that's fantastic. And what I love that you're saying also is you're putting in the work and the results will come because what you're doing works. You just got to put the work in. So a lot of people are like, well, I'm not putting in the work and I'm not getting the results. And then they're mad. It's like, well, did you put the work in? And did you put the work in on the right stuff? Right. So you're putting the work in on the right stuff.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, people, as this market changes, as inflation rate is blown out of control, as the interest rates keep increasing, people are worried. But then I'm thinking, wait a minute, why are you worried? Just go ahead and put in the work. Results are going to happen regardless of that. The money that you'll make, the sales that you'll make, the people that you'll attract to your company is a result of you putting in the daily grind. And if you're putting in the daily grind, you got no time to worry. If you're worried, that means you're not putting in the grind.
Yeah.
You're wasting time.
Yeah. The more effort exactly. It's really hard to worry about the race when you're running it.
Yes. I like that.
Like I'm not worried about training for the marathon when I'm in the middle of it.
Right. Exactly.
Get out there and get stuff done. Awesome. Beautiful. So I've got about a minute and a half left, 2 minutes left. You got something cool coming. First time ever for Canada.
Please. EXPCon Canada in Vancouver, my hometown. Guys, come and see me rock the stage. But more importantly, we got a lot of great speakers coming. We're just confirming all speakers. We have a venue that fits 500 people. Go ahead and register. It's going to be a phenomenal event. I'm going to make sure of it. September 6th to the 8th. You do not want to miss this. You can also get your ICON cultural points by coming to EXPCon Canada. So look forward to seeing you there.
Absolutely. It's like a nice little infomercial there, brother. It's like you practice that one. Here's the funny part. It's like we always know all the leaders that are salespeople that grew up in sales world and grew up on the ground doing the stuff that we do. Because dude, I throw a weird one at you and you just pitch it like you stole it. That's awesome.
Thank
I
you.
love it, brother. Well, I'll tell you what, anything you want to say, like 30 seconds. What's the last thing you got for us?
I think it's that in the next little while, I don't think the market will get better. There's still a lot of uncertainty going forward in 2023, perhaps into 2024. We can't control the market. We can't control what happens around us. We can only control the controllable. So get a hold of your mindset and work on your skills on a daily basis. You have nothing to worry about. So take that mindset and take that attitude, right? Go forth in 2023 and crush the rest of 2023. And we're right there with you to support you. See you soon.
Love that. So in an uncertain market, be certain with your actions.
You can only control the controllables, which is working on your skills and mindset every day. And as long as you put in the work, the byproduct will come as a result, which is sales, which is success, right? But if you don't put in the work today, it doesn't matter.
All right. Beautiful. Thank you very much, John. I do appreciate it. This was as good as I expected. Thank you very much. Looking forward to talking to you some more in the future, and looking forward to you guys knocking out of the park in Canada. I'm here to support you any way I can, brother.
We'll see you next week. Adios.
Right, you got it. All right. There you go. John Tsai, president of EXP Canada. That guy is super cool. I love chatting with him. He's got a lot of stuff going, a lot of different directions, and two little ones that are mixed in through the whole thing too, which is a ton of fun. All righty. Next up, we have Carrie Scholl. This is a repeat performance coming in here. Randy, why don't you throw her right in here? Because listen, lady, I saw you a couple weeks ago, and I got to talk to you for 10 minutes, and we're kind of like, hey, how'd that happen? And so let's be clear. You screwed up.
I screwed up. You throw me under the bus anytime, Russ. I will take it. I was deep in a conversation with this huge whale, and it was very exciting, and I lost track of time, and I'm so grateful to be back today.
Yeah, well, you know what the fun part is? That little 10-minute segment that we got me so excited. I'm like, I'm not letting you off the hook now, because you just said something that I want to talk about. So a couple of weeks ago, when I was talking with Carrie, we had this little nugget of time to chat. We started going through let's start from scratch for the people that don't know exactly who you are. Tell us who you are real quick. You're founder of and team of Hyperfast Agent, which is cool. What is that? Talk to me about that.
Hyperfast Agent coaches real estate agents around the country, and we focus on helping you grow teams. Yes. Because my belief in this business, when you're doing it alone, it can become daunting and overwhelming. And most of us started in the business to have freedom in our lives and unlimited income. And at some point, when you get so successful, the freedom goes away, and building a team the right way gives it back.
Yeah. So, we see this progression quite a bit, particularly with people that are playing at a really high level. They go from struggling day to day, paycheck to paycheck, to doing better day to day and not struggling paycheck to paycheck, to having a lot more paychecks than they have month, which is great. And then they go to having a lot more money than they need for a year. And then they're like, I'm doing a ton of business, I'm making a ton of money, and now I want my time back.
Yeah. Now I'm miserable. My family's struggling. I'm struggling. Like, I am living to support my clients, and I need to right balance how I'm spending my time. So that's where I come in, and I'm really impactful and help agents figure out the right path. I have a pretty firm belief that your hiring plan is not one size fits all. When coaches say, first you hire this person, then you hire that person, I'm like, what? That's insane. Everybody's different. Our strengths and weaknesses are different. And so hiring has to be about what you need.
Yeah, finding the right path for you, finding the right people for you, and finding the people that can match the parts that you don't like. I think it was last week even, I believe I talked about making 3 columns. It's like, what are you good at? What do you like to do? Because that's not always on the same list, right? What are you good at? What do you like to do? What do you not like to do? First thing you got to do is get rid of all the stuff you don't like to do. At least you're still left with things you do well and the things you like to do. Like, start farming off the stuff that you really don't like to do, and your life improves almost immediately. And then you start going, what are the things that I'm good at, but I don't really like to do, but I'm still good at them? Then farm those things off. Now you're only left with doing the things that you like. Now you're engineering a business, you're engineering a lifestyle around that. So that sounds like exactly what you're doing with your stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. One of the things this is a secret about me. I love buyers. So most really successful agents love working on the list side, right?
Yes.
I love the emotional gratification from supporting buyers. And so When I did those lists, exactly what you're saying, way back in the day, I'm dating myself, but when I did my list the first time, showing houses was the thing I didn't want to give away because I loved it. But I looked at the number of hours that I was doing each of the things on my list. And so that's a really important component when you look at that and you go, okay, well, how can I still get what I love out of this exercise out of this particular part of the business without having to spend all the time? That's
Yeah. So let me just write down those three things. What do I love to do? What am I good at? And then what do I not love to do? And those are the three lists. So your love of buyers goes into, you just love doing that, right? And you're good at it. So you should just keep doing that.
Well, then you segment it, right? So what are the things that you do in the buyer process? Like I gave up home inspections and final walkthroughs, and I gave up showings pretty early in my career.
Yeah.
But I realized, I'll go on the first showing and then I won't go on the showings after. And eventually, you know what? I feel comfortable if I do the buyer presentation up front and I negotiate the contract, I can give up all the showings, right? So it's like you're taking stepping stones based on how you're spending your time and all the activities.
Right. You know, it seems like pretty much all the advice I've seen and heard for so many years in the real estate business is you just got to work listings. I don't care if you like working buyers. You don't have time to work buyers. You got to go to listings. And now you're saying there's an alternate way to do that so that you still have the ability to have some time control, which I think, you know, once we get successful, it becomes an issue. You have some time control, but you're not just doing the stuff that you don't love to do because you want to keep your time in line.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather do something I don't like. No, I'd rather do something I like than, we can have it all, is what you're saying.
We can have it all. You know what? I have a saying, you can have it all, but sometimes you have to redefine your all.
There you go. That is brilliant. We can have it all, but sometimes you have to redefine your all. So how big of a part does it play in you just saying, you know what, to heck with what everybody else is doing. This is what I like. This is what I love. This is what I'm good at. And then you said, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to get really great at that too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's being like people talk about, well, you can take 10 listings a week if you got your system set up. Can you work? How many buyers can you work in a month if you have your system set up?
It's really unlimited because it depends on the support that you have. Eventually, so to give you a little bit of numbers behind my advice here, I've sold over 7 billion in real estate. Okay. The year that we sold the most, we sold 1,168 homes in a year. And I believe in having partners in your business. And so I always had a partner on the buy side and a partner on the list side. And I was doing just as many transactions on the buy side with one partner as I was on the list side with one partner. So I just had to systemize it.
There you go. Systematizing things is really, when you get to, we hear people say this all the time. It's like, how in the world do you do 1,168 closings in 1 year? The only thing you can do is systems, because if anything doesn't have a system, this number drops off massively.
Yes.
Without great systems, that number would be 500 and you'd be ripping your hair out, right? But with 1168, do you still get time to go home to family?
So I get a lot of time. I think that it ebbs and flows as an entrepreneur. So there's other businesses that I've become involved in that take a lot of time, but running my team prior to the current market conditions, I'm leaning in, I'm redoing all my training. I'm super involved right now.
Yeah.
For about 4 years, I was working 7 to 10 hours a week in my business.
7 to 10 hours a week?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Okay, so you do have time for the things that are important to you. So like we hear this all the time when people get into this level. I don't care who it is, like all of them. Like John Sy, just talk to him, right? He's president of Canada, EXP Canada, and has 2 young kids, and he has a full real estate team, and his wife works in the real estate team. I'm like, dude, like what? Like, come on. But again, it's a systems game for him, right? It's about having the right people and parts and pieces in place and making sure what's important to you still getting done. So
yes. Yeah. Well, and just to put this out there, I have 4 children, 7 and under.
What?
Yeah, I have a 2, a 4, a 5, and a 7. It's crazy.
Wait a minute, you have a 40-something-year-old too, don't you?
Yeah, a husband. Yeah.
Hey, Dan, if you're watching, gotcha.
Hi, honey.
So I love your husband. He's a great guy. By the way, I just want to make sure we're clear on this too. We were in a nefarious conversation, a number of people sitting around a table, and he kind of whispered something to me. And I just want to make sure we're clear on this. He said, I sold more houses the first year than she did.
He's telling the truth.
Oh, come on.
He sold 22 million.
Yes.
22 million in his first year.
22.
I sold 19 houses my first year, but I will say this. I had a lot of fun. I was on vacation like 6 months out of my first year in business. Like, whoa! Because I came from Newham sales where I was trapped in the sales model.
Sure.
And when I got out in the world, my gosh, it was amazing.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny because, like, you go, how, like, what is Dan? How does Dan connect with Carrie? And like, how does that work? And you're going like top producer, and he's just a stone cold killer on his own rights too, right? I mean, the guy's just a baller in the real estate business. So it doesn't surprise me at all that the two of you guys get together and it works out. You're either going to kill each other or it's going to work out really well. And I'd say that's worked out pretty good.
Pretty good.
And 4 kids.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Do you have a dog and a cat too? I mean,
No.
that's just.
I'm starting to have baby fever though, so I might have a dog soon.
Oh yeah, this puppy will fix that for sure. All right, so working with buyers. So let's break down a couple of things working with buyers, because like my sister-in-law loves working with buyers, and I'm like, you're crazy. And she's like, but I really like it. And I'm like, then do it. Like, let's build a plan so that you can do that. So what would you say to somebody saying, okay, we're working with buyers. What are those systems? You started one off right out of the gate with said, you do the buyer presentation. Walk me through that real quick. Buyer presentation. What does that look like?
Yep. There's 3 parts to our buyer presentation. The first is what we call the needs analysis. So that's when you're 100% focused on learning everything that's important to your client. And in the needs analysis, you need to focus most on the need behind the need and the emotion behind the need. Because if you don't truly understand why what is important to the client is important to the client, you're never going to be able to problem solve for the fact that their expectations and what they want and their budget are not going to overlap.
Yeah.
It's 85% of the time that they don't overlap, right? So that needs analysis. We actually have a sheet, and anybody who watches this that takes action, if you send me a message on Facebook, I will give you the form. If Russ can circulate it to the group, I'm happy to give you the form we use. It's not rocket science, but you do have to ask, well, why is that important? And you have to really care and get curious with the client. So that's the first step. Second step, you're taking them into the buyer presentation. Now, I have a rule. When you're about to go into the buyer presentation, you will never say to a buyer, now I'm going to present to you the process, or now I'm going to present. Who likes to be presented to? So on our team, we say, now we're going to make sure you're really confident and you understand the steps that we're going to take throughout the process, right? Because the buyer presentation is about educating them on what to expect, their buy-in, and making sure that they're confident you're the right person. But if they feel like it's a sales pitch, they will shut down so quickly. And so it has to be all about them, not about you. So
the verbiage I used for that is almost identical to yours, which was, okay, so let's walk through exactly what it's going to take for us to have a successful transaction and for you to get in the home that you really want.
Yep. It's all about them.
It's all about them, right? And it's just, let me explain to you what it takes to have a successful transaction, because they don't know. And then buyers do all kinds of crazy crap. And we're like, why are they doing crazy crap? Like, did you tell them not to do crazy crap? Here's what you should be doing. And here's the step we're on. And here's what the next step is.
Yep.
If you don't tell them that, they're like, phew.
Right.
They're winging it. Okay. Step number 3. So you start the presentation.
Okay. So there's a star right before the 3. Oh no, your whiteboard is hard. Okay. The star is that before you move on to step 3, you must get the buyer commitment signed. So we call it a loyalty agreement.
Not a buyer's contract.
No, not a buyer's contract, a loyalty agreement, right? And here's a quick technique about that. At the end of our presentation, there's people shaking hands. It's a picture like this. And it says, now all that we ask is for your loyalty. And so we say, at that point, in that moment, before you say, now let's sign paperwork, you say, hey, Russ, I felt really good about our relationship. Do you feel confident I'm the right agent to help you buy your home?
I love that verbiage. Love that.
It's like, I think we're going to work really well together. How are you feeling, right? People, you use your own words. This is about you feeling comfortable, but here's the deal, guys. You have to be comfortable enough to ask the difficult question where someone can reject you. It's not about the team. It's not about EXP. It's not, they're hiring you. And so you have to ask if they feel comfortable, you are the right fit to work with. And that's the only way you can isolate objections. So when agents tell me, oh, people in our market, they don't sign buyer agreements, I'm like, baloney. You are not comfortable.
Yes.
If I were in your market, they would sign a loyalty agreement with me because I would be 100% confident that my time was valuable enough that that was worthy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. So then once you get that loyalty agreement signed, then you move on to step 4. And it's really my step 3 because I put loyalty agreement as part of step 2. But the last step is what I call a reality check analysis.
Cool.
Okay.
I love that.
I believe that people are busy in general.
Yes.
Everyone thinks they're busy, right? And so before you send them out into the world, telling them you're going to send them houses, and you need to make sure that what they want and what you can provide them match.
Yeah.
If you don't tackle this in the first meeting, you're going to find that people are ghosting you, that people are really upset with you early in the process because you're showing them homes that don't align with what they told you, and they don't feel like you've clearly articulated that what they want doesn't exist. And a lot of you guys are afraid to say, hey, Russ, what you want doesn't exist. I don't think you should say that, by the way. I think you should show them with data. So I'll walk you guys through with the reality check how we do it. It's super simple. All you need is your MLS pulled up. You're going to put in all of the client's criteria, and you're going to look only at what sold in the last 90 days.
Right.
Okay?
Beautiful.
You then go through the list of houses with the client and you ask them, hey, Russ, let's go ahead and look at the pictures. Tell me what you love. Tell me what you hate. The more you share with me, the easier it will be for me to protect your time. I know you're with your family and you're busy with work. And so allow me to be a resource that reduces the time you spend on this process. So when I do tell you, hey, Russ, I'm standing in your home, you're going to know that I nailed it because I know everything. So I use that framing. Then we go into the houses and they say, I hate this. I love this. I hate this. Da, da, da. If they can't pick 3 houses that are in their budget that they would have bought, we go to what we call the circle of truth. Okay. The circle of truth is just a little, you can draw it on your whiteboard if you want. It's a T.
Okay.
Draw a little T and then put a circle, an X, I guess, or there's 4 parts in the circle. Okay. So if you draw another little line on top of that line and then here, watch this. Check this out, guys. I got my own whiteboard.
You guys see? So hang on a second, Carrie. So this is exactly what goes on. You are clearly communicating what you think you're clearly communicating, but you know what this looks like. I have no idea what it looks like. So while we do this all the time in sales, we're like, but I already know what I'm talking about. So if I don't know what I'm talking about, and you have a whiteboard.
I'm obsessed with whiteboards. Look at my wall.
I love it.
My wall is a whole whiteboard. Okay. Russ, you tell me. Can you see this?
There you go. Yes. Perfect.
Okay. Ready?
Yes.
This is location.
Yes.
This is price.
Yes.
This is home type.
Yep.
And this is features. Okay.
Beautiful.
So when I'm meeting with the client, all I do, if what they're asking for is not realistic because they haven't been able to identify 3 houses, I say to them, All right, don't worry. This happens a lot. There's a lot of times when I'm talking to families and it feels, because they're overwhelmed. You need to normalize the fact that they're not seeing what they want, because that can be frustrating. But it's more common that that's the case than not, right?
Agreed.
Then you simply go back to your very detailed needs analysis. And because you're an expert in the marketplace, you know what feature is going to unlock more options for them.
Right.
Right. So is it the price that they need to shift? And that's where I usually start. So as an example, in the data that you see for the last 90 days, let's imagine that they told you that their price range was up to 500,000.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
But all of the options that matched were between 750 and 900.
Yeah, sure.
You would start out by just making the statement, all right, what I'm noticing, Russ, you had mentioned that you wanted to keep your budget around 700,000. Would it be worth it to you to spend an extra $350 a month to get exactly what you want? Or would you like to consider other options and look at factors we could tweak with your criteria to keep you closer to your budget? What would be more important?
Right. So because we get people that say, but here's the thing, you started off right out of the gate. And I want to make sure everybody's clear on this. You get really clear on what their needs are and what they really want to have before you talk about any of the rest of the stuff, including price and including specific features, because then I can go back to say, if you had the dream, what does that look like? And then you can redirect them back to what's important to them and help them sort through, okay, so that was your dream, but that, like we always say, champagne taste on a beer budget, right? So,
Yes.
okay, so that doesn't mean we can't increase the budget, right? And there's times when people will go from beer budget to somewhere in between, right?
Many times. If you talk to them in a monthly payment and you say, hey, if you had to increase your payment by X, would it be worth it? There's so many times where they will say, yeah, I'd be willing to do that because I'm not going to leave Clarendon or because I want to be in Arlington, right? They want what they want. And many times when they're telling you their budget, they don't even understand necessarily what it means. So one other quick tip, in the process of the buyer presentation, okay? In the process of the buyer presentation, we have a slide that talks about using a trusted lender partner.
Yes.
In that moment, we conference our lender partner in. Why? Well, we can't do the reality check analysis without having 4 pieces of information. 4, okay? You have to understand what the maximum qualification is for the client. You have to understand what that is in terms of the price and also the monthly payment. So factor 1, price, factor 2, monthly payment. Okay.
And most people dream and live in monthly payment. Like $350. If you can get them $350,000 house and it's a $1,200 payment, they're like done. The $1,200 is the thing that they care about. The other number is just, it's nefarious to them for the most part.
Right. And what they are trained to talk to a real estate agent about is 500,000.
Yeah.
Right? But yet they don't know what that means in terms of a payment. And if you don't bridge that gap, you're not doing your job well. Right?
I think the first person that opens up a website that says, we're just searching by payment only, and then the houses pop up that fit that payment because they factored in all the other things, that would be the most brilliant. Oh, I shouldn't have said that out loud. Somebody might see this and do it. Anyway, but that's the way people search. Why are we searching based on price when everybody needs to know by payment? Because that's what we understand. Brilliant.
100%.
Brilliant. So I love the circle thing. I really like the way you break that down and say, based on the information you told me, we're over here. So how do we get it back into the circle? We're going to have to adjust one of these to get it back in the circle. And that would make sense to them. So here's what we need. And how do we get back in the circle? We're going to have to adjust something so we get back in there. So it's brilliant. I love that.
And I have an entire training just on the reality check analysis and how we do it. And I was on, I think it was a podcast with Kyle Whistle. And I was so impressed because EXP agents take action. I'm on podcasts all the time and I say, hey, I have this course. I'll give it to you for free. And you know how many people reach out to me and say they want the course?
Yes.
I was on this podcast for the first time with EXP and I get all these people that are like, I want the course. I want the course. I love that.
So you're saying hit you up on Facebook.
Yeah, just send me a message. My team will follow up with you. You'll literally get the access. I want you guys to learn and succeed because we're all in this together. Right? If you guys do better, we all do better. It's great.
I love that. So last time we talked, we've only got a couple minutes left here. We're going to do speed version of this. How do we kick buyers off the fence? You said you had a method for doing that.
I do. So pain over pleasure.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So I actually, can I go to my whiteboard again, Russ?
Yes,
Now that
please.
I know we're going to run out of time.
Who do you think you're asking?
I mean, okay, here we go. So here is my little table.
Yes.
This chart is showing in my market rental rates. I don't know about you guys. In my market, rental rates are going up by about 15 to 20% per year.
Yes.
Okay. It's insane. And so we did this exercise the other day with my team, and I realized agents are not consistently showing clients numbers.
Right.
You don't explain the numbers. They think in 1 year term. If
Correct.
they think in a 1 year term, they're missing the boat, because if they've been renting, you want to ask them, how long have you been renting? If they tell you, oh, 7 years, but then they say, oh, but I'm only going to rent for 1 more year. No, let's look at this in 5 year terms. If they say 7 years, you look at it in a 7 year term.
Yep.
Okay. Because you want to make it painful. So this example is based on somebody who's spending $2,000 in rent.
Yep.
And it's showing the amount of money in year one that they give up. But then the problem is most agents will just multiply this by 5 years, the amount of money. That's not how to think about it with the increases of the rate. So this chart, and I have a little spreadsheet, but I actually do it by hand because I like the clients to participate in the calculation with me. I ask them, can you do 115% of this to help me get the payment? And so this is just going through and showing year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. Here's the total amount that they're spending, right? So the net loss is $161,806. It's insane, right?
So the technique that works really great with that you just said, and I want to make sure everybody caught this, you make them say it out loud. You make them grab their phone and tell them, okay, take this times 1.15. And what is that number? And make them say it out loud, because if you don't make them type it and make them say it, it's your numbers. It's not their numbers. So making them say it makes it theirs.
Exactly. We have a lender, by the way, that has all of this in the spreadsheet. It's brilliant. It shows them the appreciation they could make. It shows them the rental loss. It's not as impactful as you doing it with them in a little chart where they help you calculate the numbers. When they participate in coming up with the numbers, they're real.
Yes.
When some spreadsheet tells them, hey, you're going to lose 160 grand, they're like, yeah, right.
So you would say this sums it up. Show them, don't tell them.
Yes.
Show them, don't tell them. Use their numbers. Practice it with a couple people a couple times. So when somebody says 1,800, you already know the math. But it's like, oh, mine's $1,800 a month. Okay, we'll take $1,800 a month times 12. And by the way, here's what's been going on in your market, and here's what the total is. Carrie, but what if house prices go down? Well, if it goes down less than $161,000 in the next 5 years, you're still ahead.
Well, and absolutely. And what if it goes up? Because guess what?
Yes.
Russ, you're nervous right now because interest rates are higher than what you're used to, right?
Yes.
So are other buyers. So what's going to happen if interest rates go down? Prices are going to go up, right? So if we just look at the historical average, and I just did this exercise with a group of agents today on a call.
Yeah.
We looked at the $2,000 rent that someone was spending. We looked at a property that's similar to what they would buy. What was it worth?
Yes.
5 years ago.
Oh.
Here's what we found. It had gone up an average of 8.6% per year. So then you want to take what the client is looking at today, and you want to increase the price 8.6% year over year. The same thing. It's got to be, you calculate the 1 year, then you calculate the next year, and then we added it up. That was $186,000 in a $500,000 property of additional equity if the current projected just held. So you want to use facts, have them help you look in the MLS, find the property that's similar, right? Yep, this looks the same. Okay, let's look at what this was worth 5 years ago when it sold. You find the property and you use actual statistics and math. That's it.
Yeah. So the fun part is everybody's talking about AI. So Carrie, here's real numbers from Michigan. 5 years ago, 160,000 was a median sales price. Now this calls all of southeastern Michigan. Not there are some cities that are way higher than that. This is whole southeastern Michigan, and currently it's 240,000. So I go into Chat GPT. This is a great use for it. Watch this. I hit on my number. The house price was $160,000, and now it is $240,000. What is the increase percentage? You don't even have to know math. All you got to do is hit the send button, and Chat GPT pulls it together, and it'll spit me back an answer and tell me exactly what that percentage is. So, and it shows me how to calculate it. Because guys, a lot of us realtors don't know how to calculate super great. By the way, the house price has increased by 50% in the last 5 years. So if you're worried about losing 10, you just lost 50. How many more years do you want to do that? Right? Use Chat GPT for stuff like that. And that can tell you, by the way, what your market stats are too, if you ask it.
So smart. I love it.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, we got to wrap up. It's already been 30 minutes. We got to get rocking and rolling. I can talk to you for 10 more hours. We're just fly into town. We'll just hang out and play on the whiteboard all day and crank out videos of cool stuff like this. You are amazing. I love the way you roll. I'm so glad you got to come back here and you showed up this time.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Glad I'm
You
here.
are the best. I will see you later. All right.
Bye.
There you go, guys. Carrie Shull. Holy smokes, guys. That was going full throttle to the end. I want to go 10 more minutes with her just to be able to finish out the rest of this stuff. Make sure you hit her up on Facebook. Ask her to send you the stuff from today, and she will have her team do that. She's not going to do it herself. She's going to have her team do it. That's brilliant, right? All right. We have one quick announcement to make. We are only 103 days away from EXPCon, taking place October 2 through the 5th. Of 2023. They're going to be in Las Vegas again this year, Nevada. Registration is now open, revolving around the idea of exploring new frontiers, embracing innovation, and the shaping of the future. EXPCon is an incredible opportunity for you to connect, learn, and be inspired alongside thousands of fellow EXP Realty agents across the globe. And backed by popular demand, this is something I love. We're bringing back the Explore Pass, which allows each and every EXP real estate agent to attend EXPCon and have the opportunity to invite one licensed agent that's not currently with EXP to attend EXPCon with them for free. This event promises to be bigger, better, and more impactful than ever before. You don't want to miss out this year. Give us 3 days of your time, and we promise you we will leave you with the skills to help you take your business to the next level. Tickets are going fast. Visit expcon.exprealty.com today to register. You will not be disappointed. So there you go. That's all I've got for this week. Stay tuned to do the NPS survey. Again, get that locked down and make sure you tell us how we're doing. Give us a feedback score on a scale of 1 to 10. Let us know what we're doing well. Let us know if there's anything we can improve on. For sure, you guys are going to say, bring Carrie back again. I'm saying that. So we'll bring Carrie back again. Of course, you guys, here is a copy of the board for today with some of the good stuff on it so you can see that. And I want you all to stay tuned for ICONversations coming up next. See you next week.